All right, you know what time it is, don't you? It's time for another video update from behind enemy clown world lines. And that didn't sound too great, but I'm literally living the clown world of the century. I live in a state that is so utterly corrupted, while proclaiming it's one of the least corrupted countries in the world. Well, that may be true if you look at their own measurements, so to speak. But here in Denmark, we have a situation where the government, in collaboration with the United States government and Great Britain, are doing everything they can through soft power, not only to sabotage every aspect of my life and everything that I do, from ruining my small business, from constantly prohibiting from me selling this car that I have had for sale for 5 months, to being allowed to sell graphics cards, to be allowed to have any kind of normal life whatsoever with interactions with others. This is completely and utterly prohibited, and they are doing everything to stop me from doing these things. The things that I can do on my own, for example, go clay shooting, as I have just been, they have a hard time stopping. And I just said I actually have a weapons license, a hunting license. So I'm allowed to own weapons within hunting segment of weapons. Do you really think that I would be allowed these weapons if I was the person that they claim me to be in all their propaganda campaigns? Do you really think that I would have a clean extended criminal record if I was some kind of prolific sex criminal, the worst the world has ever seen, or anything remotely resembling a sex crime or other crime on my record? Of course not, because that is just not tenable, is it? That's why I have a weapons license, and they will love to take it from me. So I have just been on the shooting range here, and it was so easily discernible how the government was communicating to the people in my surroundings who suddenly wanted to chat with me while normally trying to avoid me like the plague, and now they wanted to talk about this tragic shooting that took place in Fields a year or two ago in Copenhagen. You know, the terrorist attack that they blame me for without me having any relations or involvement in it whatsoever. Well, they're picking that up again and kind of wanting to quiz me on this tragedy as it relates to shooting. So here we had a clear example of them people on behest of the government who were using synthetic telepathy to suggest to the people in my surroundings to ask me about this shooting that took place. And obviously I'm just gonna be a normal person and say what I say, and of course it's a tragedy, but regardless, that shouldn't prohibit everyone in Denmark from being able to go hunting. That was kind of the gist of the conversation, right? But it was so easy to see how I'm normally avoided like the plague, and then suddenly they're trying to speak to me about a terrorist attack, which the government and the Danish media broadcasting service, Danmarks Radio, have again and again tried to connect me to without there being any whatsoever connection. And this is just another example of clown world, where anything is whatever they say it is, and they are so desperate in their efforts against me that they are constantly running these completely and utterly fictitious propaganda campaigns and psyops, claiming that I'm the protagonist in all of their virtual movie fabrications, depicting me doing all kinds of weird and perverted shit, or if not perverted shit, then I'm always doing some kind of insane crime. Well, funny enough, why am I never being prosecuted for all of these crimes that they supposedly have video evidence of? It's just cuckoo for Cocoa Pops land, and it just gets worse and worse and worse for every day that goes past. Everybody with a brain can understand that I'm being targeted, I'm being persecuted by the government illegally. I'm not doing anything wrong, which is why I'm out and about, and they want me to act out in ways that they can use against me. So that's why they're getting anybody and everybody to try to gaslight me in public, I mean, I can't walk down the street without anybody looking at me as if they had seen some ghost and laughing their heads off. And much of the time it's completely and utterly fake. You know, when someone has a fake laugh or acts really fake, well, this is what I'm seeing all the time. And it's getting so preposterous. Me lifting my eyebrows, if someone's looking at me in this way and I lift my eyebrows like that, oh, then I'm actually trying it on. I mean, in a sexual way. I'm flirting or whatever. And obviously they are saying that I'm doing this to the most inappropriate people. So we have small children and elderly people, because that's how they operate, isn't it? They target the vulnerable, and they're using the target individual program in public, and everybody knows it, and nobody gives a fuck. There is literally hundreds of thousands of other target individual people from all around the world who are not being targeted like I am publicly, and people generally speaking have a rough idea that I am not the only person being targeted by states using these technologies and weapon systems. But people generally don't care. They don't care about my situation, and they sure as shit don't care about your situation. And generally speaking, the other target individuals, the whole segment of people has been so infiltrated by intelligence agencies and people working on their behalf that it's completely and utterly corrupted. Or people are just so what can you say, they are so affected by all of the targeting that they don't know up from down in many cases, and have become quite crazy or quite schizophrenic or whatever. And there is only a few people who are not, and many of these people, as I say, are not actually target individuals, but people who are infiltrating the movement to control the situation, for example, that I am in, being targeted publicly, is not being used to benefit all the other target individuals by putting an end to this program, and thereby using the technologies that have been used in public for all of these years in this situation, using that in a court of law to kind of give it as an example in front of judges that will be undeniable to them, because this is going on publicly. People are literally not using the situation to benefit their own cause, and that's kind of a measurement of how utterly corrupted and useless the efforts that other target individuals, including myself, have been able to make, because it's being so utterly controlled in this clown world that we live in, where anything is whatever they say it is, and they can say and do whatever they want without having any legal justification whatsoever, and the court systems will just shrug their shoulders and say we don't care, or they would just label you some kind of mental patient, and that's how they manage to continue these programs more and more and more outrageously, and doing so quite openly, right as you can see in the case with me, and that's where we're at in this whole clown world of a situation.